Our story starts in an alleyway in Korea, where a mysterious light suddenly crashes down to the ground. As the light dissipates, a man named Caden is revealed to be lying on the ground, heavily injured from an assault by unknown assailants. In order to evade his attackers and recover, Caden transforms himself into a cat, erasing his tracks and leaving no evidence behind. Meanwhile, a teenager named Jiwoo Seo is out shopping and spends most of his money on cat food and toys. While walking, he sees a little boy drop his soccer ball in the street and run after it, almost getting hit by a car. Jiwoo uses his super speed to save the boy and quickly leaves the scene so as not to be discovered while people passing by discuss the anomaly. Jiwoo is glad that he hasn't exposed his powers to the general public and continues his day. Later that evening, Jiwoo feeds some stray cats near his home when they lead him to an unconscious cat. He brings it home and tries to feed it, but the cat, who is actually Caden, refuses to eat cat food. When Jiwoo tries to pick up the cat, it talks in a deep voice and surprises him. Caden is about to explain his situation when he realizes he's a fat cat and yells in surprise. In his cat form, Caden becomes unconscious due to shock and fatigue. Jiwoo assists him and learns that he is, in fact, a human who transformed into an animal and is now in danger. Caden reveals that he was unaware that transforming into another animal was possible and refuses to disclose further details about his past. Jiwoo tricks Caden into going to the animal hospital to get checked for injuries. On their way home, they encounter a massive cat as big as a tiger that chases after them. Jiwoo pulls out a cat toy to defend himself and Caden, successfully distracting the assailant, but it also distracts Caden. Now, Caden's past is revealed through a flashback. A big blue electrical attack causes a massive explosion, and Caden is seen levitating over an injured man in the middle of it. The man surrenders to Caden, and onlookers talk about how Caden keeps winning against awakeners, even the renowned ones who refuse to challenge him. Caden walks away, and an unknown man in a suit with his hood up offers Caden the second-in-command position in ruling the world, while another group dressed less neatly asks him to join their group. Caden is also shown standing over a group of kneeling awakeners who ask him to lead them. The flashback ends when Jiwoo interrupts Caden playing with a cat toy, and Caden is embarrassed to realize he was acting like a cat. The unknown cat quickly uses this chance to snatch the cat toy from Jiwoo and destroys it. It is revealed that the cat has a scar on its right eye. Jinwoo recognizes it as one of the stray cats he feeds near his home that went missing a couple of weeks ago. The cat attacks Jiwoo, who manages to escape with Caden's help. Caden suggests calling the police, but Jiwoo left his phone at home. Jiwoo decides to step up, and Caden is surprised by his willingness to get involved, despite the danger it poses. Caden decides to lend Jiwoo some of his power to defeat the cat. He transfers some of his electric ability to Jiwoo by touching his head. Jiwoo then feels an immense power overflowing in him. Caden wonders why Jiwoo is so confident despite facing such a dangerous enemy, and sees Jiwoo using a different power to dodge the cat. Caden then realizes that Jiwoo might have super speed powers. Using Caden's power at the last moment, Jiwoo knocks the cat unconscious with a punch. The unknown cat then shrinks and reverts back into a normal cat. In another scene, we see a man standing on top of a cell tower at night holding his phone. He is looking for the sample on his tracker but can't find it. He thinks that his tracker might be broken, so he decides to use his powers to awaken the sample and find it. He is worried that the hunters will find him. Suddenly, a huge black cloud spreads across town as the man asks, "Where are you? Come back to me now." The scene changes to Jiwoo patching up the unknown cat with Caden, wondering if it's actually an awakened cat. Jiwoo tells Caden to keep his super speed powers a secret, which causes Caden to realize that Jiwoo doesn't know what he is. Caden then tells Jiwoo that his powers make him an awakened one and that there are others in the world like him, much to Jiwoo's relief that he is not alone in the world. Jiwoo tells Caden that when his mother found out about his abilities, she told him to keep it a secret, and that when he showed his friends his abilities, they called him a monster. He had to move often to hide his powers, and was often worried that the government would imprison him and experiment on him. Jiwoo asks Caden to teach him more about Awakened One, and Caden explains that people who have these powers are called Awakened Ones or Awakeners. Little is known about where they came from or when they first appeared. However, some have physical powers while others have psychic powers. These powers are called awakened abilities. Caden discovers that Jiwoo's powers haven't been strengthened much and explains to him that most awakeners try to strengthen their powers to survive. At this time, they start to get hungry and stop the conversation to eat dinner. However, moments later, the black aura from before covers the entire area outside of Jiwoo's house. It seems that only Caden can detect it and wonders what has happened. The black aura shatters their tranquil peace as Caden realizes something is wrong. Then the unknown cat wakes up as if summoned by the aura and escapes through an open door. Jiwoo quickly stands up and prepares to head out to catch the cat to make sure it doesn't hurt anyone, in which Caden then decides to come along. Together they head out as the black aura continues to spread out. While chasing after the cat, Caden tells Jiwoo that his related abilities seem to also have developed enough as well. When Jiwoo is confused, Caden explains that in order to move fast, he needs to have good reflexes, cognitive abilities, and dynamic vision. He says that it is common for awakeners to have multiple abilities like in Jiwoo's case. As Jiwoo is running at super speed, Caden directs Jiwoo towards the cat by following the black aura, telling him to be careful as he suspects the incident is due to another awakened one. The other cat has reached the unknown awakener and recognizes him as the man who experimented on him. The cat quickly hisses at him, which makes the unknown awakener realize that the cat has also awakened. At this time, Jiwoo and Kayden reach the scene when Caden tells Jiwoo to hide behind the corner to observe first. Caden explains to Jiwoo that the man might be the awakener that is the cause of all this. Then the awakened cat attempts to attack the unknown man, who uses his ability to immobilize him. The unknown man continues to use his abilities on the cat, cruelly injuring it. Caden observes that the man is much stronger than he anticipated, while Jiwoo, disgusted by the man's treatment of the animal, declares that he wishes to save the cat. Caden protests, saying that the man is an experienced awakened one and that he is dangerous. While the two are talking, the unknown man is continuing his barrage of attacks on the cat to see the full extent of its powers. However, the cat is much weaker than he expected, so he states he will dispose of the cat. Jiwoo, hearing this, decides to simply save the cat with his super speed rather than try to attack the man. Jiwoo quickly heads into action, ignoring Caden's warnings, and successfully captures the cat. The unknown man uses his abilities but misses and thinks to use his abilities to track the cat, but decides not to, as the trackers might pinpoint his location. Jiwoo and Caden are running away from the scene as Caden scolds Jiwoo for his reckless actions. However, Caden realizes that Jiwoo moved much faster than he anticipated. Jiwoo tells Caden that he would be proud of finally using his powers for good, and realizes that his power is not a problem. The scene changes to the unknown assailant in a concrete lab, hitting the table in frustration and talking to another teen, calling him Wooin. He says that he believes trackers are on their trail and that he has lost his successful sample. He decides that they must leave the place soon, but not after they have run more experiments and found the successful sample. He warns the boy to tread outside with care, who responds back with, "Yes, Professor." After Jiwoo steals the awakened cat, he treats it in his house while Caden ponders, thinking that the cat might be an experiment from an awakened. Caden seems to use his power to either examine the extent of the cat's injuries or heal them. He realizes that Jiwoo might get into big trouble from stealing the cat. Caden tries to get Jiwoo to understand the seriousness of the situation, but Jiwoo seems to be oblivious to the trouble he's in. Thus, Caden resorts to simply warning him, and doesn't tell Jiwoo that his life might be in danger, stating ignorance is bliss. At this time, Jiwoo's alarm rings and he realizes he has to go to school. Both of them had just spent the entire night chasing the awakened cat. Jiwoo asks Caden to take care of the cat if it wakes up and asks him if he will be at home when he comes back. Caden promises to not leave and Jiwoo goes to school. Soon the 3 stray cats that had led Jiwoo to Caden in the beginning comes into the house. Jiwoo feeds them and Caden scares them away with his intimidating aura. However, soon Caden starts getting closer with the rest of the cats and learns how to open tuna cans with his claws. When Jiwoo comes home, he is shocked to see so many cans lying on the floor with Caden, the culprit, sleeping. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. And if you want to see the second part of this story, let us know in the comments below.